Well, I'll put myself on record stating that I've really been enjoying John Cena and what he's been providing ever since he won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. He did run into a few speed bumps, I have to mention, heading into Night of Champions, but I'm glad to say that he's back on track, and this program that he's involved with Dean Ambrose right now, it's done a great deal to help him get back on track. And it's definitely helped out Dean Ambrose because him associating with John Cena, it makes it seem as if Ambrose is on Cena's level or at the very least rapidly getting to that point because his star power continues to increase. And being around John Cena gives him a sense of legitimacy and the crowd responds to that in kind. Now, on the flip side of things, as far as Cena is concerned, the way that I see it, him being associated with Dean Ambrose, it gives him a bit of an edge. It gives him a sense of coolness and also kind of like a little bit of street cred. And in my eyes, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no shortage of praise on Dean Ambrose. But when it comes to John Cena, you don't really hear much about John Cena. And I can admittedly include myself in that because things weren't really put into perspective for me until I read this column on Cage Side Seats, and I'm going to read a little excerpt from it for you guys here. So, and I quote, "When examining Cena's current storyline, one in which he is going after Seth Rollins to exact personal revenge in favor of fighting for the greater good, even at the expense of other good guys, many of you respond with a mix of anger, annoyance, and outright contempt. Cena hasn't officially turned heel, but his actions within the story he's currently a part of are decidedly self-serving, arrogant, and maybe even narcissistic. They may not be referring to him as a heel, but he's absolutely acting like one. So what's the problem? Do you need him to turn in a more obvious manner? Do you need WWE to acknowledge outright that he's no longer a good guy? Would you rather they obliterate nuance in favor of beating you over the head with a big moment signifying a major shift? In the same way that he's acting like such a heel, he's also being decidedly human, an issue many of you have had with him in the past. He has responded to a situation like any flawed character would. The vanilla do-gooder has been replaced with a selfish revenge seeker, a twist that made him, in my eyes at least, decidedly more interesting. Still, condemnation." And end quote. Now here we have John Cena in a storyline with Dean Ambrose, and both of them have the same objective: beat the hell out of Seth Rollins. And they're kind of behaving in somewhat of a similar way. And for John Cena, there's never been a point in time where he's like, "Oh, Dean, we're better together. We should just stop fighting each other and team up." It's none of that Boy Scout merit badge bullshit. Like, John Cena is actually behaving, as the column said, like a human, like a flawed character. And he has some fire, he has some intensity, he has some consistency, and also he's relatable. But his best quality that he has going right now is that he's actually entertaining. And that's what I want from John Cena, and that's what I'm getting. So I would have to ask the PWTR hosting panel and also the viewers of PWTR, what do you want from John Cena?
I'm getting what I want from him, but just addressing that article real quick, John Cena is not a heel. Showing edge, having some fire, being a flawed character, that's a part of good storytelling. That doesn't necessarily make you the bad guy. I mean, Stone Cold was the bad guy when he was going after Vince. It's not the same thing. He's not going out there trying to do these dastardly things for the sake of getting booed or anything like that. Being selfish is not inherently a bad thing. And even I mean, I don't know if he can even call this selfish. He's talked about how he's doing this because Seth Rollins fucked up what was in the best interest of the WWE as a whole. Like, John Cena has always been a character that looks at the big picture when it comes to benefiting WWE. So I'm not going to call him a heel. This isn't a heel turn. I don't even think that these are heelish tactics, really. It's a little more edge, it's a little more spunk, and I enjoy it. That's exactly what I wanted out of Cena.
I would have to agree. I don't necessarily see these things as heel tactics, and I think that in wrestling, a lot of times things that would honestly be considered, bad guy tactics can turn around and be good guy tactics. For instance, revenge is oftentimes the role of the face in professional wrestling, and it's the same way with Dean Ambrose that John Cena has, that they both are trying to get back at Seth Rollins for Seth Rollins wronging them. And I like what I'm seeing from John Cena. I think that part of the reason not a lot of people give him praise is because he's not really supposed to get it. That he is playing a complementary role off of what Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have established, and part of his role is to increase the profile of a Dean Ambrose when he's in the ring. That's part of what an aging face of the company is supposed to do, and I think he's doing that to a T. So I think the fact that you're getting a lot of praise out of Dean Ambrose and not a lot for John Cena honestly might indicate that John Cena is doing his job pretty darn well.
I did have a bit of a disagreement with the author of this article, because I think that they went too far in the direction of trying to relate John Cena to a heel, and it kind of lost something in that process. But I understand the reason why they did that, because there are a lot of people out there that are suffering from Cena derangement syndrome. And David, you kind of touched on that when you were talking about how there are a ton of folks out there that no matter what John Cena does, they're just going to automatically hate the dude. That's what you call Cena derangement syndrome. Because on the other side of things, there are a lot of people out there who just, like, anytime the subject of John Cena comes up, it's always heel turn, heel turn, heel turn, heel turn. Like, people make it seem as if that's the only change that his character can possibly make. So that's why I think the author kind of tried to, like, appeal to them. Like, oh, well, you guys wanted a John Cena heel turn. He's acting like a heel. He's not exactly acting like a heel, but he does have some more human traits. And I think that that is the point of what is going on here, and I think that that's commendable. And I actually wanted to give him his own segment on PWTR to actually discuss that. Now, Charlie, I understand you're trying to give the fans the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not buying that shit. When you say that, oh, because John Cena is not being talked about, he's doing his job. If it was a situation where people dislike something that John Cena did, they would have absolutely no problem screaming it from the rooftops.
I'm talking about, like, the people with some logic in their, our circle of fans and listeners and hosts.
Well, here's my thing on this, and this is who I am as a wrestling fan. I'm gonna give you that enthusiasm on both sides. So if it's a situation where it's like something I'm pissed off about, you guys saw it when they put Mark. I'm not even going to mention it because I'm going to go back there. I've removed myself from there. But that just signifies what I'm saying. If it's something I'm pissed off about, you're damn sure going to hear it. But if it's something that I'm saying, okay, criticize when necessary, give credit where credit is due, I have to make sure that I go ahead and mention that. And credit to John Cena. I like what you're doing, so please keep it up. Please, please.